Welcome to the Silhouettes of Success podcast with your host, successful entrepreneur, broker, and business mentor, Amber Weitzer. Because success comes in all shapes, sizes, and styles, the Silhouettes of Success podcast is shining the light on industrious women with a collection of curated conversations of intentional inspiration designed to inspire your heart, ignite your mind, feed your soul, and gift you with actionable insights directly from inspirational, everyday women who've shown tenacity, grit, and grace, having taken on the challenges in their lives and business and won. Remarkable, down-to-earth, and relatable, Amber and her guests will share with you uplifting and extraordinary real-life success stories, motivational ideas that just might help spark something within you. With the deepest desire to serve you, help you grow so you can begin to shine the light that will illuminate your very own silhouette of success. So, let's get to it.
Hello and welcome to the Amber Weitzer podcast, Silhouettes of Success. Our VIP feature guest is an entrepreneur, keynote speaker, mentor, and drumroll please, author of the upcoming book, Becoming More. You can't get to better until you get to different. So we're going to hear all about that. She is an award-winning business leader and established herself as a prominent figure in the business world, developing many leaders over her career, which hopefully she'll dive into all of that with us today. She dedicated 13 years as CEO of KW Maps coaching and trainer at Keller Williams Realty International. She's a board member of Growing Leaders, a John Maxwell Leadership Foundation organization, and her cherished titles also include wife, mother, and grandmother. Silhouettes, let's welcome Dianna Kokoszka to the show. Hello, Dianna. How are you today?
I am doing great. Thank you so much, Amber. This is such a treat to be able to be on your podcast. I know people have been listening to it and enjoying it for quite some time.
Well, we are so thrilled and tickled to have you. So let's just dive in and have you share a little bit about your story. I know you enjoy storytelling. Talk to us a little bit about the early shaping of your silhouette of success with the audience.
Well, I started literally working at 5 years old in the family grocery store. I was over the magazine rack, and I was taught that when someone picked up like a magazine with a car on it, I was instantly to pick up as many magazines as I could find with cars on them and said, if you like that one, you'll like these too. Do you want to buy them? Right. And then when I advanced to the cash register, as they would come through with their grocery cart, I would say, oh, you have ice cream. Oh, would you like cantaloupe with that? Or would you rather have chocolate or caramel syrup? Or how about root beer for floats, right? In essence, it was an upsell, yet it was adding value to what they already had. So it became very natural for me to desire to add value to people each and every day. That's what I started doing. And of course, fast forward, I wanted to go into real estate, couldn't afford it, saw an advertisement on television. I was up late. It was about 2 a.m. with one of my sick kids and watching PBS that was having an auction. They auctioned off a brokerage class that, well, it was over $1,000. And I looked at my checkbook and it said, I could afford about 50. And I thought, I'm not even going to bid. That's crazy. Yet I heard my mom and dad in my head saying, nothing ventured, nothing gained. So I went ahead and bid. And lo and behold, I won. I guess it was because it was 2 a.m. and no one else was thinking about real estate. So Amber, it was late night exhaustion, I guess, because after I found someone, which wasn't easy because it was a man's world back then, went to 12 offices before someone hired me. Yet I woke up and realized I couldn't even afford a babysitter. Now, what was I going to do? That was the craziest thing. Why did I even bid on this? So I ended up putting my kids in a little red wagon after getting my license and going door to door. That's how I started. And lo and behold, it was about building relationships. it was about getting to understand what the people absolutely needed and understanding the fact that you don't sell haircuts to a bald man, right? You find out what people need and you help them get that need. You help them accomplish their goals. And of course, Zig Ziglar had taught me that when you help enough other people get what they want, you get everything that you want. So ended up as a CEO, building a coaching program.
Okay, there is so much in what you just said. In under, what are we at? I have to look at the clock here. In under 5 minutes. Oh my goodness. Okay, so go back. Let's go back to being up at 2 a.m. looking at the checkbook, because our audience is just, it's a vast audience. And the reason I just have a passion for showcasing women like you, and telling your stories, is because we reach so many different women at so many different points in their life. And I can relate to where you are in that moment. Looking back now, does that feel surreal to you? Are you more, talk to us about that.
I can go back to that moment instantly, Amber.
Yeah.
It's something I tell people, don't let your checkbook do the thinking for you.
Mm,
Yet that night, that's all I had to do the
yeah.
thinking. And I think we all get to a point, that defining moment in our life, that we're wondering, which way do I turn? What do I do? Maybe some of the audience is actually praying to God that He'll show them a way, or they're praying for help through their anxiety, depression, stress, whatever it is, because money can cause stress, or should I say the lack of it. Uh, when there's more month than there is money,
Hmm.
essence, can't pay your house payment, all of those things, it weighs on you. There was a point where I was doing so well selling real estate. I mean, I sold 104 homes my first year. It was unheard of. I
Yeah.
don't even think that record's been broken today, 40 some years later. And yet I didn't watch my finances. I didn't watch my checkbook. And a lady came in, she was my friend, and I put her over the property management division. I had grown a company to 4 offices. I mean, I was living high, so to speak. Well, unfortunately, she embezzled a lot of money. She took all the rent checks, put them in her
Mm.
account, didn't send out the mortgage checks, sent the checks to the seller. And 3 months later, my accountant, who had just gotten back from a mission trip, he'd been over in London for 3 months, and he said, Diana, you're broke. I went, what? I can't be broke. Amber, it was a rude awakening.
Mm.
I literally had 72 house payments to make 3 times over. I sold everything I could, pennies on the dollar, went back to selling. And I tell that story because, you know, whatever our listeners are going through, I don't care if they're doing fabulous. Watch your money, visit it often, know your net worth, know what you're doing. And if you're struggling to even make money, know that there's hope. I mean, I went back to the gift zone that I had been given selling, and didn't take out bankruptcy, paid everybody back, and became a fierce negotiator with mortgage companies.
Oh my gosh. Do you, so audience, we're going to talk about her book here in a few. Do you cover all of this in your book?
I
I
talk a bit
see.
about it. I
Yeah.
talk more about what happened and what I went through. For example, in the emotions portion of this chapter, I bring out emotions that limit us and
Hmm.
emotions that liberate us. In fact,
Ah.
Amber, every chapter talks about what's limiting us in our mind, because our brain helps us think and we've taught it how to think, and what liberates us, and then how to move from what is limiting us to liberating us. And so I do share some of the things that I went through and what I learned about the brain and how we can train it to help us.
So excited to break into that. Okay. So the alarm clock goes off and your work or business day begins with all of the different things that you have going on. what does a day in the life look like for you? Do you enjoy structure? Do you have a routine? Are you more of a spontaneous mixture? Talk to us.
Well, I appreciate you asking that because research from Harvard Review actually shows that people that have a set routine are 50% more likely to make better decisions and accomplish more than those that don't have a routine. So I'm a big person. I majored in physics and math in college. And so I'm very much into, man, if there's research done on this, I want to know what is that research. So, yes, my routine is that before my feet hit the floor, I give at least 5 things that I'm grateful for because I want to start my day out with gratitude. Of course, because of my faith, I do my Bible study, then I go in and walk on the treadmill, then I come back and shower and all of that. Now, it's so interesting when we get out of sync. For example, right after I say gratitude, I do brush my teeth. But if I don't, for some reason, get that routine going, it seems like my day just doesn't go as well. It's amazing. I do have affirmations that I say as I'm brushing my teeth. I look at them and just kind of say them in my head, and I'll listen to a podcast or something on the way to work or make some phone calls of gratitude to people that I'm grateful for. Because here's what I learned. I've done a lot of study on the brain, mainly because my brother and sister both had brain tumors, and I wanted to help them. And they helped me so much because I didn't even realize that they were setting me up to write this book. You can learn a lot about reading about things, which I've read neuroscience books, I've talked with doctors, I've studied brain scans. Yet you learn more by being right there with them. Kind of like wars. You learn more by being in that foxhole under enemy fire. And I learned so much that I want to share with other people. So that routine is important. Gratitude is important. Brain scans show, and this is through Dr. Amen, they brought 30 people in, Amber, and they literally had them say things they were grateful for and have them write down things for 5 minutes. Then they waited 30 minutes and took them in and did brain scans. All 30 of them had the neocortex was all lit up, which is how we learn. The limbic system, which is our activity and the doing part of our brain, was all lit up. The emotions of joy and happiness. And then, of course, the cerebellum, where we get all of our intuition and all our creativity was lit up. Then they took these same people and they had them think about what ifs. What if my dog died? What if my spouse was diagnosed with a terrible disease? What if I lost my job? What if somebody stole all my money? And then they did a brain scan. Nothing was lit up. Nothing other than worry, anxiety, and stress. Those areas of the brain were very lit up. And so to me, it's very important because you can't be in negativity and gratitude at the same time. So, whatever your routine is, at least start out with gratitude. Feed your body good things, feed your brain good things, and you'll be surprised how your day goes.
And on that, because I know mindset is just such a massive mindset and leadership and all of those things you're going to share with us that are in your book, which I'm just itching to get into. But talking through maybe some things for you on a daily with all the study and the passion that you have for all of this, do you ever get stuck? And if you do, what really maybe is a best practice that helps you break down a seeming barrier between you and a dream or a goal? What might you share with the audience could be something that could benefit them?
That's such a good question. Yes, we can reach that burnout if we don't keep our goals in front of us. If we're not in the service of others, we can become very self-centered. There's so many things. And yes, I've been through them all. I mean, I'm human. And sometimes I have to remind myself of that. One thing that was a defining moment for me, though, is in the study of stress. And let's just say when you have stress, your brain, what it goes through, some of it recovers and some of it does not. And so being a CEO, which I stepped down from being the CEO, I was there for almost 14 years, built it from losing money, was losing about $1 million a year to making $500 million, as well as going from one coach, they called her consultant, I changed it to coaching, building that to 357 one-on-one coaches that had almost 5,000 clients. We had 80 group coaches serving over 10,000 clients, and 57 coaches that taught a program I wrote called BOLD, Business Objective, A Life by Design. And they would go out and they literally trained and coached over 175,000 agents. So it was constantly about mindset and that stress that I felt every single day to grow this company, to make money, to make certain that bottom line was exactly how I said the budget would go. I mean, as a CEO, they say 70% are under so much stress on a constant basis. They're making over 35,000 decisions, not major ones. They could even be in our subconscious mind, but 35,000 decisions per day is what the average CEO will make. So I don't care if you're a housewife sitting around the kitchen table or a board member sitting at the board table. It's literally stressful. You've got kids to take care of. You've got meals to plan. You've got all these things going. And so it's important that we understand our mind, that we understand our mindset, and that we understand attitude is much different than mindset.
Thinking through all of what you have accomplished and um, all that you're doing and all that you're still going to do, I'm just so excited about this. Um, as someone who has established herself in such a prominent role, and I believe, in coaching 180%, and I believe coaches need coaches, but as an independent or business owner and speaker and mentor, where do you turn to for support?
Well, I do have mentors. My dad literally sold tickets later on in life for the American Motivational Society. And there were people like Zig Ziglar, Norman Vincent Peale, Cavett Roberts, Art Linkletter, Phyllis George. I mean, so many people that I got to meet, talk with, ask questions of. They were at our kitchen table. So they were mentors for me. Then, as I got older, I read this book, The 21 Laws, Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by John Maxwell. And when I read a book, I want to meet the author. I want to
Mm.
go listen to them speak. And I heard that he was in Dallas, Texas. So I left Denver, Colorado, flew to Dallas, heard him speak, and of course, met him. And when I met him, he said, I'm John. I'm your friend from the stage. When he was signing my book, I said, wait, look at me. I'm Diana, and I will become your friend. And we have. In fact, I was texting with him this morning before the podcast. He's been my mentor for over 25 years. And Amber, he's taught me so much. I've taken a lot of classes from him. And he had a mentorship back in the day where there were 14 of us that he mentored. And that was very special. And you had one-on-one coaching from him. I did that for 3 years. And then, of course, he started getting to where he was speaking all over the world and is known as the leadership guru now. Yet I've never lost touch with him. He still coaches me. And in fact, this entire weekend, we've been back and forth. That's why he was texting me before this podcast about the financial class that he's starting, that he's so excited about. And we were talking about how to grow it and get it going. But he's a great mentor of mine. Jim Rohn was a great mentor before he passed. I met with him many times, one-on-one, asking questions.
I love it. Asking questions and listening to get to know you on this intimate level, if you will. The tenacity that you have and just speaking up for yourself. I've heard that throughout everything that you shared. It takes courage, and not everybody has that. They can maybe learn from it or learn to find
You
it.
can. In fact, I'm so
Yeah.
glad that you brought that up. Yes, I did have a lot of that. I grew up in a small town. Everybody knew everybody. And I have a saying that you have to take a stand for people's greatness because they're going to take a stand for their limitations. And I want to expand on that a little bit because, see, you got to take a stand for your own greatness instead of your limitations. God gave every single one of us a gift. And the question is, have you opened yours up? And if not, open it up and share it with the world and take a stand for the gift that you have. It's a mindset of courage. It's a mindset of confidence. It's an energy. In fact, in my book, I have the 4 energies of success and how you can obtain those. I have the mindsets. And Amber, right here, I just feel inclined to say that when I started studying mindsets, I Googled, I read, there's over 150 mindsets that they say we can have. And I went, that's too many. Nobody can concentrate on that. How do we look at this? And I went back and I talked to John, of course, John Maxwell. I went through all the interviews that he did with great leaders, things that he taught us about John Wooden. I have journal after journal when I would speak with John and the things I would write down. And I narrowed it down to 7 mindsets that limit us and 7 that liberate us. And so, for example, on mindsets, we've got, uh, the limiting ones that are fixed, the entitlement, doubt, scarcity, negative, hubris, and judgment. And then the 7 to me that liberate us are growth, gratitude, confidence, abundance, positive, humility, and curiosity. And if they order the book or when they order the book before October 31st, they actually get a free assessment. After that, they can take the assessment. There is a charge for it. This assessment will come directly to you and tell you exactly percentage wise which one you have of each of these, because we all have each of these. It just depends which one is more prevalent. And let's say that you have a limiting mindset that's more prevalent than the liberating one. I give 6 to 7 things that you can do every single day in your life to change from limiting to liberating and train your brain to go in that direction and focus in that direction. Because after all, you've trained your brain to where it is this far, you can retrain it to where you desire it to go.
Well, milady, we were in lockstep, and I'm glad you opened up that door because we are ready to talk about your book. I am so excited. I thought, okay, so tell us, I'm going to let you now say the title of your book, and it sounds like it's coming out soon. And then we will make sure that our audience is reminded to go pre order it now. And I'll let you share that info so they can take advantage of that opportunity. That sounds amazing. All right, your book title is called.
Becoming more, you can't get to better until you get to different. And the foreword is actually written by Dr. John C. Maxwell.
Goosebumps. So excited for you. So dive into a little bit more, and I'm watching the clock here, so I want to be respectful of your time, but get all of this in. A little bit more about the inspiration that led you to actually put it out there to all of us. We are such benefactors of this.
Thank you so much for asking that because I do want to honor the people. I told you the 57 coaches that went out and trained the BOLD program. Many of those people, actually over 80,000, have sent cards and letters saying that I changed their life. Now, you and I both know I could have given them the words, made the environment for them to change, yet they had to make the choice to change. They actually changed their life by the choices that they made. And they would text me. They still do, in fact, text and say thank you. They have so much gratitude of what they learned and how it's changed their life and where they're at today, leading companies, doing things that they never thought they could do. And I was down on the dock one evening. I was reading. We live on a lake, and I'm sitting down there reading a book, and I received one of those texts. And of course, the words were very kind. And at the end, they said, "When are you going to write a book?" And I'd been asked that many, many times, Amber, just never wanted to do it. Yet I turned the page in the book I was reading, and it said, "If not us, who? If not now, when?" by John F. Kennedy, right? His quote. And I went, okay, I got it. I got it, Lord. I'll write the book. And that was the defining moment to literally start putting the pen to paper and deciding what is it I'm going to share. And I developed a model that takes you from the story, the current story of your life, to a new story, leaving a legacy that absolutely is one that you desire to live. And I lead you through a journey that you can decide what you want to do. Stay in the limiting side or move to the liberating side. And I've taken people through this. I literally did my own research before putting it out. One gentleman was James Brinkman, and what he has done with his company, he went from being the worst in the company of his region to where he is now like 7 units, which are sales, from being the number one company in that region. And it's only been a little over a year. And little did he know I was even testing all of these on him. It's just fun to watch.
Oh, just the absolute joy and elation in your voice when you share this story, your journey, and the collectiveness of getting you to this point with all of these amazing humans in your world. But uh, the fact that you're putting all of this together for us. Wow. Okay. So, Dianna, we're going to take a quick break to hear from this episode's sponsor, and we'll be right back. I personally have been investing with Ashcroft Capital for about 5 years. I know the co-founder, Joe Fairless, pretty darn well. He's my brother, so I can personally vouch for him and how he approaches things. I like investing with Ashcroft because of the monthly cash flow. They buy apartment buildings, improve them, and then sell them. It's a good business to be in, and I'm glad to passively invest with them. You can learn more at ashcroftcapital.com. That's ASHCROFT capital.com. All right, my lady, we are back. So I am just so honored to be with you and to hear all of this and just to have this time sharing you and putting you in the spotlight. Another couple of quick questions, if I may. Do we have a few more minutes?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. So, where do you turn to when you need inspiration? You mentioned right before the break that you were, sitting on the dock, so you hopefully enjoy some beautiful weather and some fresh air and just that tranquility. But where do you turn to when you need a little inspiration?
Well, because of my faith, I turn a lot to the Bible.
Uh huh.
I turn to
Yeah.
my husband and we'll talk with him. I also read a lot, listen to podcasts such as yours. I love to be around top people.
Mm.
I'll call some of the people that I've coached in the past and talk with them. I love to call my sister. I rely on her a lot. And I just say, "Hey, let's laugh." Or sometimes with my granddaughter, I love to hear her laugh. So I'll ask her to tell me a crazy joke, or I'll tell her one and we'll laugh together. And I have this little love box that I got my granddaughter, and it's where you can text, and the love box, like the heart turns and she opens up the top of the box and it has the text there. But then she can turn the heart and it sends hearts back to me. And it says, a flood of love from Mary Bella. And so
Oh,
that always makes me feel good.
I would say so. Diana, what feeds your soul?
Adding value to others absolutely feeds my soul.
Mm-hmm.
At 7 a.m., my phone goes off and it's an alarm and it says, what will you do today to add value to others? And at 7 p.m., it goes off and it says, what did you do today to add value to others? It's just my form of accountability to keep me on track. Because one of the exercises I have in my book that I did many years ago was you write down your own eulogy. And as awful as that sounds, as I wrote it out, what do I want people to say about me when my days on this earth are over? And I reduced it down to the point of, I want them to say she made a difference by adding value to other people. That's it. And so now it's so simple that everything I can do, like being on the podcast, sharing some of the things that I've done. I mean, it's a good thing you didn't ask me my failures. We would probably be here for my goodness, maybe a year or so. I have no idea, but failed my way to success many times.
Well, I
I
think we
just
would
so
we'd both
believe.
be there.
Oh, I don't think you'd be solo in that.
Well, I hope not, because
Oh,
I
yeah.
think there's a lot of people though don't want to talk about them. And I
Yeah.
think that's what makes us real. And it
Yes.
makes and gives people hope that if they can go, my goodness, if she can do it, I can do it. And
Yeah.
that's what I want to portray to people. If I
Oh,
can do what I was able to do, they can do whatever they desire to do with the right mindset, with the right attitude, with the right energy. It's all combining together, which is this model, and it's taking you from the story you're at to the new story you desire to have, and that legacy that you decided what it would be.
A great best practice, and I know I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 pages of notes so far. But just the way that you bookend your day with those thoughts of just absolute glorious gratitude, even if it's just for yourself, but everybody else in between your bookends, your morning and your evening. Just how many lives you must touch. So thank you for that. All right, my lady, we're going to start to wrap here, respecting, again, the schedules here. I just so appreciate it. I could spend all day with you. We all crave great resources that might help inspire, uplift, expand our minds, and like I tease, sometimes get us through the day. You have shared, of course, we're going to all get your book. You've shared some great mentors and influencers and resources, including the Bible and all your friends. Do you have a favorite or something that you maybe keep close to you all the time that you'd want to share with the audience? Or do you have maybe 2 favorites that you want to share?
Well, I read a lot of business books and leadership books. Of course, you mentioned the Bible. That's the best leadership book you'll ever read if when you study it, right? The other part, though, is Patrick Lencioni is a great writer. I really like his fables and how he brings business into them and what we can learn from them, especially the 5 dysfunctions of a team. Of course, Doris Kearns Goodwin. We learn from history. And her book, The Team of Rivals, is a fabulous book. All of her books about what FDR went through with the war and the things that he did and how he thought and how Eleanor Roosevelt helped him so much. I think it's important for us to see that other people have been through a lot more tragedy than we have been through, right? And of course, all of John's books. I've read every one of them. Yeah, I think there's 104 plus all the ones he did for the religious community that even adds to those, which are very good. And then, oh goodness, Simon Sinek is another one that I read his books. So I go a lot with authors. John Addison's book on leadership was great. All of John Wooden's books. I mean, I'm just thinking of all that Jeff Henderson.
Love
I
it.
mean,
I'm
I can
writing.
go
I'm
through
writing.
so many.
I can hear you. It sounds like you're turning around looking at bookshelves. I love that.
Yeah, I'm looking at the ones that are close to me that
Yes.
I look at all the time, and I
Yes.
reference many of them.
Yes.
Jeff Henderson's I reference in my book on what do you want to be known for?
Yeah.
And then, are you known for that? If I interviewed your friends, would they tell me that?
Uh-huh.
It was a good awakening.
Yeah, I was gonna say that would just, straighten up your posture as you're. Oh my gosh, my lady, thank you, thank you. It has been just awe-inspiring and a true honor and pleasure visiting and talking with you today. As we begin to wrap up, and we keep a promise with our audience to share just a kernel of intentional inspiration. So, you mentioned affirmations early on. Do you have a piece of key go-to advice that you'd like to pass on to the audience?
Well, the affirmation that I use and have used for many, many years is I become what I believe about myself. So I believe the very best of myself. And that's one to live up to. I'd like to also remind them that stories are something that just happen automatically. Even while we're asleep, our mind is busy making up stories. And stories are told because we want something. I mean, some tell stories to gain empathy, while others tell stories to brag on their accomplishments. And each story is based on our experience and what we desire to portray as the outcome. You can also change your story by writing out the story that you desire to have a year from now. Write it down as though it already happened. Put a lot of emotion in it, and then just seal it up. Don't even look at it for a year. Open it back up in a year, and you'll be surprised at how much of that story you have actually brought to fruition. I've done this with hundreds of thousands of people, and I get letters that say, "Oh my goodness, I opened up my letter, and the story, there's so much of it true." So just do it. It'll be so much fun. It'll be a great exercise.
All right, audience, you heard that. We have homework for ourselves, and I love that. Oh, goodness gracious. All right, the stage is going to be completely yours. Dianna, where can our audience go to find or connect with you on your socials or support you in your continued success? And also, please include where we can go pre-order your book.
That's so great of you to ask, Amber. Thank you. They can follow me on Facebook, Dianna Kokoszka. Dianna is with 2 N's, and Kokoszka, Kokoszka. Instagram, Dianna.Kokoszka. LinkedIn, Dianna Kokoszka. And then, of course, for the book, you can go to Amazon or to becomingmorebook.com.
Beautiful. And we will be sure to include all of those links in the show notes. So it is one click away for our audience to find you without having to go do any searching. We want to make it easy for them to connect, support, and follow you. Dianna, again, it has been a genuine pleasure. You have just brightened up my whole world. So thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing your silhouette of success. You are a true inspiration.
Amber, thank you for the opportunity. And you've helped me to add value to others today. So thank you.
Oh, thank you, milady. All right. Until next time, enjoy your day.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Silhouettes of Success podcast. If you enjoyed the show, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on all the new episodes. We are here for you and with you. We encourage you to share this podcast on all your socials and pass on the light to help illuminate another silhouette of success. To find out the latest ways to inspire your heart, ignite your mind, and gain actionable insights, subscribe at thesilhouettesofsuccess.com or connect with us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. We're grateful that you tuned in. Remember, You are exactly where you need to be, right here with us. This is the Amber Weitzer Podcast, Silhouettes of Success.